Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.
Good morning and welcome to this week's edition of The Mediator with me, your host, Brian West, here to give you the top 8 headlines and developing news stories that made it this week. Now, as usual, give you the top 8 local headlines and developing news stories that made it first, followed by a movie clip, a skit, a trailer, or something that's going on in the community, or maybe some pictures. And then I'll give you the top 8 international headlines and developing news stories that made it, folks. So let's waste no time. Oh, yeah. Let's get to it. Story number 1. What's going on at Mill Creek Metro Parks? A petition with 2,500 signatures on it has been handed to Judge Robert Russo Jr. of the Mahoney County Probate Court, according to an article by Ed Runyon of the Vindicator. Now, the intent of the petition is to remove the current Metro Parks commissioners. Now, the article goes on to cite the many reasons why the decisions are being made and why the petitions have been signed. Now, this story is still developing. That's why story number 1 made it this week. Story number 2, speed cameras in Campbell. The speed camera vibes have spread all the way to Campbell. According to a local report published February 3rd by Dan Pompley, local residents have already started receiving tickets for speeding in school zones with the intent to keep students safe. 700 tickets have been issued in a week. That's why story number 2 made it this week. Story number 3. What happened at EGCC, Eastern Gateway Community College? The fraud allegations continue at EGCC. The Auditor of State's Special Investigations Unit is now asking for information. The state's Special Investigations Unit. The state is looking for financial irregularities in college handlings of government money. Folks, this story is still developing. That's why story number 3 made it this week. Story number 4. YSU has something to brag about. 2,529 students in the spring semester graduated at YSU, which is a record for the university. Now, the university also made headlines for an approved bill for a $9.75 million student center. This is another story that's still developing. Story number 4. Story number 5. Fists are up in East Palestine. The fists. They're putting up the fists. East Palestine, if your country, is moving on after a year. And so far, health seems to be the main talking point in this story. Wendy Grove, who was 63, and was mentioned in one report by Sheen Barron of the Vindicator, explains how she died of the report explains how she died of lung cancer. Rail workers have also spoken out about their own concerns about safety for the future and at the time. Now, either way, the community that refuses to die is moving on. Asthma cases and other health issues have been reported in the aftermath, but no instant casualties were reported when the incident occurred. But the story remains alive. Story number 5, big headline. Story number 6, firing away in Youngstown. Youngstown residents are outraged at the continued unnecessary violence taking place in the city. Random gunshots and the constant news and circulation making it very hard for business owners and residents to maintain any high expectations for the city. You know, this is what such stories in the headline, when all this stuff happening, people are making it hard for the city. Now, one February 6th headline states that gunfire killed 2 men in Youngstown in one day. Wow. Now, with one of the men being as young as 18 years old, the ignorance and constant stain on a city that stays consistently in the headlines is what was keeping these stories trending. How do you protest when somebody dies, but you don't protest when somebody dies? Story number 6, big headline. Story number 7 and the top 2 local headlines and developing news story that made it this week, folks. It is Black History Month, Valentine's Day locally, so a lot of people will be spreading love. So on this show, I want to spread the gospel of mediation, of peace, joy, and fighting for peace. And once the dust settles locally, after we get all this nonsense out of the way, everybody will look at their water bills. They will be able to pay them. There will be jobs in circulation, and the city will be brand new. It will be streets of gold. How about that? How safe are you in Youngstown? Story number 7. That's the big question. With a number of assessments and crime data units, and this is across the United States, Youngstown does not meet the grade. According to Area Vibes, Youngstown has a total crime rate that is 53% higher than the national average per 100,000 residents. That means that the city has a lot of work to do, but there is a but. Youngstown is now a cultural destination with affordable housing, parks, and excellent health care facilities, according to TravelLandLeisure.com. So Youngstown has a big mountain to climb. Other than that, healthcare is looking good. Big headline. Story number 7 also made to the top this week. How safe are you in Youngstown? Story number 8 and the top local headline and developing news story that made it this week. In the city where it's never enough, a lot of poverty, a lot of hope, cheer, and making something out of nothing. Story number 8. On Black History Month and around Valentine's Day. I hope I'm not missing any other holidays or birthdays. Shout out to all the guys who come into the store. Kareem, it was his birthday. Shout out to Kareem. Shout out to Reverend Oliver, who always comes into the store buying. I mean, this brother has to have some of the most classiest style in the city to be a reverend. I mean, he rides around the city on his motorcycle with his top hat on. I ain't never seen nothing like it. He's got flavor! Flavor. Story number 8. How are local finances after the COVID-19 meltdown? People are making it work. Brothers, white brothers, Muslim brothers, everybody is making it work. All types of brothers. Italian brothers, Irish brothers. After the COVID-19 meltdown, everyone is talking money. The median household income in Youngstown, Ohio is $31,020, according to Data USA. Now, this means that everyone is on a budget in the city. The city has seen several bank failures, if you did not know, over the years, and a continued need for financial literacy and wealth. Several lawsuits against the city and some of its officials after the COVID-19 meltdown this also shows a need for financial mediators or people to break down why the city is struggling to get over its financial hurdles. And this has a lot to do with when the steel mills left. The city just hasn't recovered. Well, COVID-19 money made a little bit better, but the story is still trending. Now, most of all, the city's financial data can be viewed, if you want to check it out, on Auditors Ralph Beecham's website, and there's some other stuff. You could also see the property values, which actually they've seen a record income, but they're still worried about the people and how to get money in the citizens' pocket. How do we get out of poverty, folks? This story is still developing. That's why story number 8 made to the top this week. Jobs. This is big headlines. Well, folks, those are our top 8 local headlines and developing news stories that made this week. I'll be right back with the top 8 international headlines and developing news stories. So don't you go anywhere. You're the Mediator with me, Brian West. I'll be right back.
Tune in and don't forget to subscribe to Method 8 Inc. YouTube channel. You can also watch free public entertainment. And don't forget to show some support by visiting www.method8inc.com by buying something, clicking something, watching something, or just reading something. You can also sponsor a program as well. That's www.method8inc.com. Buy stuff, watch stuff, or read stuff.
What does Method8inc.com Media Center have that I need?
Small prints, event consulting, photography, business consulting, technical consulting, entertainment consulting, fundraising advice, event videography, movies, news, publishing, media, books, entertainment, acting, broadcasting, public relations, access to the visual and performing arts, ink and black ink refills, audio recording, graphic design, theater, minor computer and cell phone repair, and they're located at 5648 Market Street in Boardman, Ohio from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. every Monday through Friday. The list goes on and on.
Method8inc.com. Buy stuff, watch stuff, or read stuff.
Oh yeah! And yes, we are chipmunks.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Now it's time to get to the top 8 international headlines and developing news stories that amazed me. Folks, I went to go see The Color Purple for Black History Month, and I had seen it, maybe I think some of it or parts of it, I think I'd seen it when I was a kid. And so for some reason, I thought Celie was real attractive. I mean, beautiful spirit, beautiful wife, you know. And in the movie, she was treated so terribly. I said, man. And on top of that, they had her kissing another Suge in the film. I couldn't believe it. You know, I got jealous. I never seen, you know, I don't really get out much. I don't get to talk to a lot of women, but I felt a part of this film. I hadn't seen a movie like this in a while. You know, I went out and everybody's talking about these movies and how they're demasculizing the men and defeminizing the women, and I'm not gonna lie, I had a thing for Celie. I was kind of getting attracted to her, and see the one girl, Fantasia, came out and played the second Celie, and I say, ooh, these girls had a kind of a finesse to them, and I'm not gonna lie, I was getting attracted. I had a dream about her that night. Ooh, it was nasty. Me and Celie was doing some wild stuff in the jungle. And when she kissed Suge, I got upset, frustrated. And I left the theater. I was frustrated. Because I wanted to be the one to kiss Celie. And I'm so tired of women taking over for brothers. Celie, come home, baby, to the real Color Purple this Valentine's Day. I got something special for you, and I know we gonna get to the mountaintop. Yeah! Let's waste no time, folks. That's our topic for this week. Me and Celie sitting in the tree. KISSING this Valentine's Day, baby. Woo! Let's waste no time. Let's get to it. Story number 1. Speaking of Celie, an entertainment war. Folks, some of these actors have declared war against what they call the Illuminati. This is real. Cat Williams, Dave Chappelle, there's a whole list of Kanye. This is a long list. Monique, they're all going there on the battlefield and trying to declare justice in Hollywood. And I think it was Terrence Howell. There's a list of them. A long list. The story has been trending for some time. And that is why there are so many conspiracies surrounding the entertainment industry today. Now, what got the story in is the mess and the mass attention surrounding celebrity comedian Cat Williams. This interview was released on YouTube a while back, about a few weeks ago. Now, the story has been trending for a while and made it in some time ago with the rapper Kanye West. I know we remember that spill when he had the anti-Semitism spills and all that other stuff. Now, the hardest part about dissecting why there are so many claims is what still has this story trending. I mean, it's the claims. People having gripes, saying the same thing over and over again. Dresses, rituals. This is some serious stuff, folks. Now, the explosion of YouTube videos surrounding this one particular topic is what got the story in. And the most recent comments made at the Grammys is in multiple headlines from white and black celebrities, folks. This story is staying alive. That's why story number 1 made it this week. Story number 2, the kid-parent debate. MoneyWise says that nearly 60% of parents provided financial help to their young adult kids last year. And the article goes on to say that a third of adults admit that it's taking a toll on their own personal finances. Now, what got the story in is the living conditions of young America. Now, this report is keeping the American financial news in the headlines. The Pew Research Center contributed to this story. Folks, this story is still developing. That's why story number 2 made it this week. Story number 3. how are they doing? How are colleges doing? Now, the recent pushback from college students has education stories trending and saying that a lot of American colleges are non-profit or for-profit. The question now is, how are they doing financially? The key to this evolving story is the most recent news to hit headlines that lately, stating how college students are doing and how they're doing everything to try to pay their bills, especially their college bills. Now, one report out of the Hill even says that some colleges are turning to older students to tackle the enrollment crisis. The lure factor is what has this story trending. That means that how colleges are trying to lure people in is what's keeping the story alive. Even in this meltdown, the story is still developing. That's why story number 3 made it this week, because you got to invest in yourself to be worth more. Big hit. Story number 4, understanding the importance of hospitals. Women in Gaza are giving birth in tents in public bathrooms, according to the Wall Street Journal. According to recent headlines, Gaza is just about out of hospitals, and according to the report, there were more than 50,000 pregnant women in Gaza when the war began on October 7th, and at the moment, many of these women do not have medical help. This is why many hospitals are too big to fail, and a lot of them do fail, folks. This story is really resonating throughout all the world, because if you see people suffering, if you're a human, you feel like you have to do something. And right now there are a lot of people suffering in the Middle East. This has been going on for quite some time. That's why this show always ends with the slogan, peace. Well, folks, those are our top 4 international headlines and developing news stories that made us. We got right back with the top 4. So don't you go anywhere. You're the Mediator with me, Brian West. I'll be right back. Welcome back. Now it's time to get to the top 4 international headlines and developing news stories that makes me, folks. This segment is called Here They Come. It's my little poetry for today. I know it's Super Bowl Sunday. A lot of people will be watching, especially to see if somebody kneels down at the Super Bowl. How crazy is that? I hope we've gotten over that hump. Hope we've gotten over all the racial violence and all the chaos, which is probably not going to happen. But this is Black History Month, so this is the time where we reflect on the history that a lot of African Americans have made and contributed to the United States of America and on the battlefield. So I titled this poem, Here They Come. Now, as a child, I thought I had a lot of friends. I got into it with a fellow African American brother, and I got hit pretty hard. I got knocked down. Knocked out, I realized that I had to get back up. Now, in the midst of all the laughing and the people making fun of little old Brian, I realized that in losing, the reason why you don't pick up any weapons is you have to deal with the humiliation, the scars, the pain. And you find out that life is not so rosy after all. And you find out that the people who usually laugh at you and make fun of you may be lacking a little bit of character. In this humiliation, I learned about my heritage, I learned about a country, and I learned about a people that constantly getting knocked down, whipped, spit on, beaten up, sometimes even in victory, feeling defeated. So in that learning of getting back up constantly, you develop an energy. And that energy is when they start coming. Now, we don't know who they are. We don't know who they can be. But the more you get up after getting knocked down, the more you find out that they're coming. You're running. They're chasing you. You don't know who they are. So this first Valentine's Day in Black History Month, you could be with your loved one, you could be smiling, you could be having a good time. But deep inside the back of your head, they could be coming. We don't know when they'll come. They could take our life, try to. They could hate, try to destroy our families, try to kill everybody. But that they is what keeps us on guard. So I hope you learned something. This Black History Month, I made a song. They may not love me for who I am. They may not love me for what I want to become. But they may not even know my struggle. But I will keep on going until they run out of breath. This time of year, we're focusing on they, who they are, who they might be, who they might become. Let's waste no time, folks. Let's get to it. Story number 5, the aviation story. Could be Howard Hughes. What is Howard Hughes? Something strange is going on in the aviation business. It appears that Boeing workers are willing to strike for a 40% pay raise. At least this is what a union leader, told Business Insider. This is weeks after Boeing grounded planes due to a door mishap. According to the report, Boeing's last deal was brokered back in 2014. Talk for the new contracts are set to start on March 8th. So they don't have much time. That's why story number 5 made it this week. Story number 6, the credit card debt story. ABC News says that America's credit card debt hit a record $1.13 trillion. Credit card debt increased by $50 billion in the fourth quarter of 2023. The article goes on to explain how household debt rose by 212 billion to reach 17.5 trillion. That's a lot of debt, folks. This story is still developing, and they could be coming. Big head. Story number 7 and the top 2 international headlines in developing news stories that made this week, folks. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's been a struggle, and I've been fighting this fight. I'm telling you, I'm fighting. I'm getting up every day. I've got my own problems, but I'm doing this for the greater good of the public. So to keep the legacy alive, there could be some child, there could be some American who just defeated in life, and they may watch this show, and I pray to God that I make them feel victorious, especially my fellow people, the people I've walked with, the people who have birthed me, all the people, folks. Story number 7. Trending foreign affairs and immigration stories. Folks, my ancestors, my family has served this land so greatly. I have uncles who have served, great uncles, fathers, and to see these stories, I can't help but have to contribute. That's why I'm doing this show, folks. America's growing involvement in foreign affairs continues to make headlines. The Washington Post has a piece on how James Mattis secretly advised Arab monarch on the Yemen war. Arab monarch. That's what the article says. That's how it reads. Now, the article is extensive in this piece in the Washington Post. The article is extensive and packed with information about Mattis's dealings, but opens up a wider picture of U.S. engagements when it comes to foreign affairs. Now, money is mentioned in the report as media outlets ration with how many political leaders and activists are cashing in on political matters and affairs while in office, while the taxpayer ends up footing the bill. That's why story number 7 also made it to the top this week. Big headline. Story number 8 and the top international headline and developing news story that made this week. The last headline, but you have to understand why immigration was mentioned, is because a lot of the dealings could be why there's been an influx of border activity, and people are investigating on what has actually been taking place in some of these deals. I mean, you've got over 6 or some, there's a lot of people who've been getting across the border for quite some time. So these are big headlines. They could be having sleeper cells. The United States could be getting invaded. We don't know. Story number 8. Maybe talking about civil war. Story number 8. This is the biggest one this week. Every time a business goes under, take notice. Story number 8. Folks, business is a rough game if you haven't noticed. The survival rate is slim for businesses. The Street has an entire piece about how popular retail chains are closing stores in Chapter 11 bankruptcies. Now, many businesses are doing this to restructure their debt. The ripple effect is what has the story still trending, because businesses drive communities and other businesses. Now, the continued COVID-19 meltdown is what got the story in. And the fact that if you go to some of these major cities where they have a lot of businesses, you'll see foreign entities kind of now invading. So that means that people who are not legal, they're invading, and they're causing a lot of problems at some of these businesses. Western rate made to the top this week, folks. Well, folks, those are our top 8 local and international headlines and developing news stories that I made this week. I hope you got something out of today's program. I always get something out of the research. As usual, I'd like to thank all the news outlets, the journalists, people on the front lines. You deserve all the credit. I am just the mediator, the man in the middle, navigating the news just to keep people informed. If you want to show us some support here at Method 8, it does not take much. All you have to do is visit the website on the screen, buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or just sponsor a program. Or you can stop at the store at 5648 Market Street, see my smiling face. Folks, I am out of here. I'll be back next week looking through over 200 or more stories just to keep you informed. Have a good week, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the Mediator. Me, Brian West. Peace.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.